All right, they go on to say, we have a little bit more here. They say, is Polyvagal the best place to start, or are there other things I need to master before or alongside? I do think it's extremely important foundational knowledge. I think it's a great place to start if you're asking, why am I like this? And you're ready for new information. When I work with clients, if they're asking why, I say, hey, I got an answer for you. If they're not asking that, if they don't want to learn about biology and stuff, they just want to stay, in their thoughts, or they want to get closer to those somatic feelings, but they don't really want to spend the time learning about autonomic nervous system. I don't blame them. That's okay. So if you're asking why and you're ready for it, I think this is the place to go. I do think after that, or along with that, would be somatic focused things. But really, we want not just body stuff, but things that also are comprehensive of thoughts, feelings, sensations, and maybe even more than that. Maybe even spirituality, if that's your thing. So there's other domains that I think are very important, not just the somatic by itself, because we're a whole person, that all these things connect. Okay, so I would really encourage you, if you're going to go the somatic route, don't just look for like dancing and singing and breathing. Those are all really important, really helpful, but there's a lot more that goes along with it. Somatic experiencing is something I've spent some time looking into. It seems fantastic, seems like a great option. If I was going to go back to school and be certified in anything, that would probably be it. What I would recommend, and this is why I have my 2 courses, I would really recommend first learning polyvagal theory. I have Polyvagal 101 plus a ton of free stuff that you can, even if you don't want to buy the course, I have a ton of free stuff. You can learn about polyvagal theory. Following that, if you're doing some self-work, I would really encourage you to do building safety anchors, which helps you to identify safety and to really ground yourself in your safety state, and not to address not to go directly at the pains, the stuck defensive state. I don't think it's helpful to go right at it. I do think it's more helpful to ground yourself in safety first. And the last chunk here says, honestly, I'm just really overwhelmed. And yeah, I don't blame you. I'm really overwhelmed and heard you give a little pushback on inner child work on the podcast. And I hope with this one, I'm very clear on my thoughts about this stuff. I think it can be helpful. For me personally, I'm not really into it. I do think it can be helpful though, but these are concepts. These are made up. Just like my puzzle thing, I made it up. It's not a real thing. You don't actually have puzzle pieces missing inside of you, but maybe it feels like that. So maybe that would appeal to you. I don't know. Anyhow, I thought I would ask which ideas are the most valuable. I think polyvagal theory is extremely valuable. I feel really behind, and it seems that polyvagal is the best place to start, but I feel like I'm dipping my toes into a little bit of everything and not really retaining a lot of info. Thank you again for your work. It's succinct and easy for me to process. I just worry I don't know how any of this works. I hope that was a pretty comprehensive look at how things work, how they intersect, how they connect. Polyvagal theory is the underlying foundational knowledge, the science for how we are the way we are. I think it's foundational. Things like learning about attachment is extremely helpful knowledge. I think it's very useful. Psychological concepts can be very useful, but they are metaphors. They are narratives that are made up that can help as a top-down state regulation avenue. So hopefully that makes sense. These things don't necessarily conflict, but yeah, it's totally overwhelming. It can be very overwhelming. This podcast is not therapy, not intended to be therapy or be a replacement for therapy. Nothing in this creates or indicates a therapeutic relationship. Please consult with your therapist or seek for one in your area if you are experiencing mental health symptoms. Nothing in this podcast should be construed to be specific life advice. It's for educational and entertainment purposes only. More resources are available in the description of this episode and in the footer of justinlmft.com.